Along the misty shores of the Carolina coast, whispers drift through the salt air, the whispers of a ghost who refuses to rest. They say when the sea turns black and the wind screams like the dead, the spirit of Blackbeard himself rises from the waves, still searching for the treasure he buried long ago. His real name was Edward Teach or Thatch, depending on who you ask. Born around 1680, he was no ordinary sailor. With a beard so wild it looked like smoke and slow-burning fuses woven through his hair, he crafted an image meant to terrify even the bravest man. When those fuses hissed and sparked, the devil himself seemed to walk the deck. Blackbeard's ship, Queen Anne's Revenge, was a floating fortress of fear. Armed with 40 cannons, it dominated the Atlantic, from the Caribbean to the Carolina coast. His flag, stitched in bone-white thread, showed a skeleton holding an hourglass and a spear aimed at a bleeding heart, a message that time and mercy were running out. In May of 1718, Blackbeard blockaded Charleston Harbor, holding an entire colony hostage. But months later, his luck ran out. On a foggy morning that November, British naval forces led by Lieutenant Robert Maynard ambushed him near Ocracoke Island. The sea boiled with smoke and blood. When the fighting stopped, Blackbeard had been shot 5 times and slashed more than 20. Still, he refused to fall until one final strike severed his head. Maynard hung it from his ship's bow as a warning to every pirate who dared defy the crown. But the ocean doesn't forget. Sailors claimed Blackbeard's headless body swam around Maynard's boat before vanishing beneath the waves. For nights afterward, glowing lights shimmered in the water like fiery fuses burning deep below the surface. Locals began to whisper that Blackbeard's soul was bound to his lost gold, hidden somewhere along the Carolina coast. Some say he cursed it before he died, vowing that anyone who found his treasure would face the same fate, death by the sea. And though centuries have passed, there are nights when the wind carries his laughter across the water. Some swear they've seen his ghostly ship appear through the fog, lanterns burning bright as gold, still searching for what was lost. After Blackbeard's brutal death, the Carolina coast fell silent, but not for long. Fishermen began to tell stories of strange lights over the water. They said the sea near Ocracoke would glow red on stormy nights, as if blood still stained the waves. Others spoke of hearing footsteps echoing across their decks when no one else was aboard. The locals started calling it Teach's Light, a ghostly glow that flickered along the shoreline, vanishing whenever someone tried to follow it. For generations, sailors refused to anchor near Ocracoke after dark. They claimed a curse hung over the island, cast by Blackbeard himself before his final breath. Some said he cursed anyone who sought his gold, promising the sea would rise up and take them. Others believed his restless soul still guarded the treasure, waiting to drag intruders down to the depths. By the early 1800s, rumors of the lost gold spread across the coast. A fisherman named Thomas Singleton claimed he saw a chest rise from the sand after a violent storm bound in iron, glowing faintly in the moonlight. But when he tried to open it, a wave struck and pulled it and him back into the sea. His body was never found. Even today, locals talk about the Ocracoke curse. Divers have gone missing, boats have capsized in calm weather, and strange shadows have been spotted gliding beneath the waves. More than one treasure hunter has vanished while searching for what they called Blackbeard's blood gold. And there's more. Old records tell of a secret cave near Teach's Hole, a narrow inlet where the pirate's body was thrown overboard. On quiet nights, some say they can still hear the sound of chains clinking below the surface. Others claim to have seen a glowing figure, headless, pacing along the beach with a lantern in hand. Blackbeard's treasure was never recovered. But the stories keep coming, whispers of gold coins washed ashore after hurricanes, and maps that seem to lead nowhere. Their ink faded like sea smoke. Is it possible that somewhere beneath the dunes and tide lies the fortune of the most feared pirate to ever live? Or was the real curse not his gold, but his legend destined to haunt the coast forever?
Centuries after Blackbeard's death, his gold still lures the brave and the desperate. Legends say he buried it somewhere along the Carolina coast, perhaps near Ocracoke, or deep within one of the Outer Banks islands that shift and disappear with the tides. By the mid-1900s, treasure hunters began scouring the region. They brought metal detectors, maps, and blind hope. One of the most famous seekers was Dr. George McNeil, a historian who believed the treasure was hidden near Bath, North Carolina, Blackbeard's final home. McNeil claimed to have found fragments of chainmail, rusted pistols, and a gold Spanish coin engraved with the year 1715. He was preparing an expedition to dig deeper into the marshlands when he vanished. His boat was discovered days later drifting near Ocracoke Inlet. The compass on board spun wildly, as if magnetic fields had gone mad. His notes were found soaked and torn, the last line barely legible. "The tide hides him still." Other hunters followed, driven by greed or fascination. In the 1980s, a group of divers claimed they'd located an underwater cave lined with wooden planks, a tunnel leading toward a buried chamber. When they returned weeks later, the entrance had collapsed. Locals whispered that Blackbeard didn't want to be found. Even scientists have been drawn in. In 1996, archaeologists discovered the wreck of Queen Anne's Revenge off the coast near Beaufort, North Carolina. Cannons, swords, and gold dust were recovered, proof of the pirate's existence, but not of his fortune. The treasure chest itself remains missing. Some say it lies deeper, sealed beneath layers of sand and seawater. Others insist it was never buried at all, that Blackbeard cast it into the ocean during a storm, vowing no man would ever touch his gold again. Yet strange coincidences continue. Metal detectors go dead in certain areas near Ocracoke. Boats lose their signals. And on moonless nights, locals claim to hear the faint sound of laughter, a deep, rasping chuckle that echoes across the waves. Is it the wind? Or something older, watching, waiting, guarding what's left of his cursed
Teach's
hoard?
Cove, the place where Blackbeard's reign came to an end. The place where his head fell, and his legend began. Locals say his spirit never left these waters. Even now, centuries later, Ocracoke Island remains one of the most haunted places in America's coastal south. Fishermen claim to see glowing orbs drifting above the tide, and visitors describe hearing voices calling their names in the wind. On certain nights, the fog grows thick, and the sea becomes unnaturally still. Then, from somewhere beyond the breakers, the faint glow of lanterns appears, moving slowly through the mist. Witnesses swear they see the outline of a tall ship with torn black sails, silent but alive, its ghostly hull gliding over the waves. The locals call it Teach's Revenge. Some say the ship sails in search of its captain's severed head. Others believe it guards his treasure still, appearing whenever someone dares to dig too deep. In 2007, a group of amateur historians came to the island with ground-penetrating radar, convinced they'd found a large metallic shape beneath the dunes. They never returned to finish their dig. One by one, they left the island after reporting strange dreams of the sea rising, of burning fuses, of a man's laughter echoing through the storm. And perhaps it's all coincidence. Perhaps it's the imagination of those who want to believe that legends never die. But there are nights when the wind changes, and even the skeptics grow quiet. They say if you stand on the shore of Ocracoke and stare into the water at midnight, you might see him, a figure in the distance, walking through the waves with a lantern in hand. His beard glows like embers, his eyes burn like coals, and if you listen closely, you might hear a whisper through the roar of the tide. My gold for no man, my soul for the sea. The treasure of Blackbeard has never been found, and maybe it never will be, because perhaps the true curse of the Carolina coast is that Blackbeard's gold isn't meant to be discovered at all.